Taylor Swift is a well-known pop country singer who we often associate with pink dresses, blonde hair. She's the typical girl next door. Here we have her single Love Story, a song which reminds us of the classic Romeo and Juliet romance. The side which she is not well known for is this.
T-Swizzle, T-Pizzle, I'm like 8'4", blonde hair to the floor. You shorties never thought I dreamed about rapping hardcore. No, I ain't got a gun. No, I never really been in a club. Still live with my parents, but I'm still a thug. I'm so gangster. You can find me baking cookies at night. You out clubbing, but I just...
Which of these is the real Taylor Swift? Are these two personas mutually exclusive? If not, how do we define her? For that matter, how are we to define any of us? By what we look like? By what we do? Everything we do and however we act add to our status in society, but to shed light on these questions first requires an explanation of the types of statuses, ascribed and achieved, and how they impact our definitions of ourselves and society's definitions of us. An ascribed status is social position assigned to a person by society without regard for the person's unique talents or characteristics. Ascribed statuses are generally, and sometimes mistakenly, viewed as necessary to an individual and are usually given at birth. Examples of assigned statuses include things like race and gender. The other aspect by which we are defined, at least in a social context, is by our achieved statuses. An achieved status is a social position attained by a person, largely through his or her own efforts. An achieved status might include the title of athlete or student. Obviously, it is easy to put forth these definitions in the abstract, but people are not simple, nor do we live in a black and white world, where we can be one thing at one time and a completely different thing at another. In addition, due to scheduling or other conflicts, we oftentimes need to decide between statuses. Role conflict, as this is called, affects us all, from Kanye West to Miss California and everyone in between. Imagine that you are a brother at your friendly neighborhood fraternity and it is a Wednesday night. Now, your friends know you as a man who has no fear of drinking, especially at Wednesday night meetings. However, you have a test in your biology class the following morning. Do you stay out late or get those extra hours of studying in? Either choice has pros and cons, but in the long run your choice between achieved status of frat boy and student seems negligible when compared to role conflicts of other kinds. In fact, these two roles often coincide with each other. Someone can be a student and a fraternity brother without any trouble. But what happens when a person tries to change their ascribed status in society? To answer this question, imagine another situation. Imagine that it's 1955 and you're a young black kid raised in Chicago who's visiting some relatives in Mississippi. While at the grocery store, you see an attractive white woman and you whistle at her. Nothing terribly crazy going on here, except the ascribed status of being black in Chicago is different than that of being black in Mississippi. For this reason, you are dragged out of your residence, beaten, mutilated, murdered, and dumped in a river with a cotton gin tied around your neck. What you are imagining is the case of Emmett Till, a young man who paid the highest price imaginable for the discrepancy between his definition of self and society's definition of him, and whose death provided a major spark to the civil rights movement. Emmett Till is a prime example of a person challenging their ascribed positions in society and the social norms that come with those positions. Ironically, his ascribed position is one he is born with and had no choice about, but it is the one which cost him his life. On the other hand, in the example of the student choosing between studying and hanging out, it's hard to find any serious consequence resulting from his actions. Challenging his achieved status has nowhere near the significance as Emmett's challenging of the one he was born with. Is this fair?